My name is Leslie Green, and I'm an individual who thrives as a bilateral below the knee amputee. I work to provide education and resources nationally for individuals preoperatively, postoperatively, and beyond. And my connection to the Amputee Coalition goes back 6 years to the very beginning of my journey as an individual with limb loss. And my connection initially with them was as a lead advocate for the state of Minnesota. That was the first endeavor in. They brought me training on how to advocate for many, and I brought forward the communities that I moderate. So it was a great pairing right from the beginning. Plenty punches. You're going to hit me with the big one right from the beginning. I love it. I think it's appropriate that we take a month out and reconsider who individuals in this community are. I think historically, if we look back at the roles that individuals with limb loss and limb difference have played throughout the millennia, we see that they have been leaders of innovation, rulers of nations. They have been individuals who have seen challenges and risen above them. And I think this is a wonderful month to help those who are not affected by limb loss or limb difference reconsider who individuals are in this community, but in the community as a whole. And hopefully reconsider how we label or regard ability based on physical appearance, and how we look at how we value in terms of intrinsic worth. And I think as a society, we are doing much better than we have in many years. But this month helps us take one more step forward and engage others who aren't touched by limb loss or limb difference directly. Look at what their role is in changing the perception and experience. So to that end, I think it's a critical month for all of us to engage in. Well, the value is invaluable, right? And to that, I speak to that from many levels. I've been associated with the Amputee Coalition my entire time as a bilateral amputee. And in that regard, I've held positions as a volunteer, as a lead advocate. And there again, that goes to helping those not affected by limb loss or limb difference understand what it is to encounter the world, and then what their role is, whether it's legislative on a federal level or a local level, to understand their role and see where they can help enhance and change that. As a peer mentor, a person who can come alongside and again, play the role in change on a very immediate micro level. And as a person who moderates 16 national amputee education communities, the importance of the Amputee Coalition in that is to help get the word out that we're not alone, that there are resources available. So to be part of the Amputee Coalition, the value that they add, again, you can see so many reasons why it's an invaluable resource. I think the memory that will forever stay with me was my very first encounter. I was being trained as a lead advocate for the state of Minnesota, and Mary Richards was just coming into her first tenure as president of the Amputee Coalition. And I had been sitting in a conference for several days when she was introduced. And so having had exposure to different members of the Amputee Coalition team, I was quite impressed. But when Mary Richards took front and center stage and simply said, we, in the course of our conversation, and kept saying, we, it struck me that we was not just a euphemism so that those of us in the room who had limb difference and limb loss felt supported. It was the reality of who the Amputee Coalition is. A coalition that goes in front of you when the need is there, who comes alongside of you to let you be partnering and to walk behind you in times and let you lead the way. And when Mary used the word we, it struck me as so genuine that this was a group that wasn't going to walk away from us when the time got tough or leave us to find our way on our own, but would lead. And that, to me, that simple use of 2 letters, we, has stayed true throughout her entire tenure and through my entire experience in the Amputee Coalition. So for many, many reasons, that's my favorite memory. We're not different from. We aren't a group of people who have lost ability or focus or passion. Those things are as integrated in us as they were before we lost our limbs, or if we're a person who was born congenitally with limb difference, that's never been a reality that changed. I think the one thing that I would hope is that people see beyond devices or lack of devices and see the person. And if you see an aid or a device, seeing it not as a barrier, but as an enhancement, not as a stigma, but as a status, a symbol of somebody who has creative abilities and adaptability beyond what you can imagine.